How do you deal with disrespect? Disrespect is a common challenge that we face in lives, and it can be very upsetting and frustrating, but what if we could learn the ancient philosophy of stoicism? A man sits alone in a dark prison cell. He is thin and gaunt, his clothes are tattered, and his face is lined with pain. But in his eyes, there is a fierce determination. The man's name is Epictetus, and he is a Stoic philosopher. He was born into slavery, but he used his intellect and his Stoic teachings to overcome his adversity and become one of the most respected philosophers of his time. When we face challenges in our lives, we should remember the teachings of the Stoics, which teaches us how to handle difficult situations with wisdom and grace. But before we start, subscribe to my channel to learn how to stay calm and collected in the face of adversity. Focus on the present moment and never give up. If you don't subscribe yet, make sure to click on the subscribe button, which will motivate me to continue my journey on YouTube. Your graceful and compassionate action can make my day. In this video, I will share some of the most important Stoic teachings on how to handle. The Stoics believe that the quality of our thoughts determines the quality of our lives, and that we should always strive to improve ourselves and our actions. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When you face disrespect, it is essential to reflect on yourself and ask yourself questions like, is there any truth in what the person said or did? How can I respond in a way that is consistent with my values? By reflecting on yourself and the situation objectively, you can gain a better understanding of the event and your own role in it. 2. Self-reflection. Self-reflection is a Stoic way of ensuring that your responses are based on rational judgment rather than impulsive reactions. It helps you learn from the situation and promotes personal growth and wisdom. When faced with disrespect, reflect on yourself and ask yourself questions like, is there any truth in what the person said or did? Did I do or say anything that provoked this situation? How can I respond in a way that is consistent with my values and virtues? 3. Pause. Seneca once said, whenever you are angry, be assured that it is not only a present evil, but that you have increased a habit. Stoics believe in the importance of self-control and rationality. They argue that impulsive reactions driven by intense emotions like anger or frustration often lead to poor decisions and unnecessary suffering. When faced with disrespect, the Stoic approach encourages you to avoid reacting impulsively. Instead, take a moment to pause and collect your thoughts. This pause allows you to regain control over your emotions and gives you the opportunity to respond in a more measured and thoughtful manner. 4. Have empathy. Epictetus and other influential Stoic philosophers said, "Seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves." When someone shows you disrespect, Stoicism suggests practicing empathy. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes and understand their perspective. Empathy can help you see the situation from a different angle and realize that the person's disrespect may not be personal or intentional. It may be caused by their own insecurities, fears, or ignorance. Empathy can also help you feel compassion for the person and reduce your negative feelings towards them. 5. Concentrate on virtue. One of the main ideas of Stoicism is to develop virtues such as wisdom and courage. These are the qualities that help us live well and act rightly. Seneca, a famous Stoic philosopher, wrote that virtue is nothing else than right reason. This means that being virtuous is the same as being rational and consistent. Stoics believe that virtue is the highest good in life and that everything else is indifferent. When we face disrespect from others, Stoicism teaches us to focus on virtue in our response. This does not mean that we should ignore or tolerate the disrespect, but rather that we should respond in a way that reflects our Stoic values and principles. By focusing on virtue, we can avoid being influenced by our emotions, maintain our dignity and integrity, and grow as a person. 6. Embrace acceptance. One of the key lessons of Stoicism is to accept the things that are not in our control, such as the disrespect of others. Acceptance does not mean that we should like or agree with the disrespect, but rather that we should not let it disturb our inner peace. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This means that we should be grateful for what we have and not worry about what we lack. Stoicism also teaches us to distinguish between what is in our control and what we can only influence, which is known as the Stoic dichotomy of control. We can control our own thoughts, feelings, and actions, but not external events or the behavior of others. Therefore, when we face disrespect, we should not let it affect our inner peace. Instead, we should accept it as a part of life and focus on what we can do to improve ourselves and our situation. By accepting disrespect with Stoicism, we can avoid unnecessary anger, frustration, and resentment. We can also learn from the experience and grow as a person. 7. Use humor. Sometimes a little laughter goes a long way. As the ancient philosopher Seneca said, "You have mastered yourself when you know how to deal with what you should not take seriously." Stoicism teaches us to control our emotions and act rationally, but it also recognizes the value of humor in coping with challenging situations. Humor can help us keep our emotional balance and avoid getting too angry or annoyed when faced with disrespect. Conclusion. Dealing with disrespect can be challenging, but Stoicism can provide us with the tools we need to respond in a way that is consistent with our values and principles. By following the tips above, we can learn to deal with disrespect in a calm, rational, and constructive manner. Now, here is a personal story about how I have used Stoic philosophy to overcome challenges in my own life. I used to be a very anxious person. I would worry about everything, big or small. This anxiety was making it difficult for me to enjoy my life. One day, I decided to read about Stoic philosophy. I was drawn to the Stoics' teachings on how to live a virtuous life, even in the midst of adversity. I learned that the Stoics believe that the only thing that truly matters is the virtue of our character. Everything else is external and indifferent. I also learned that the Stoics believe that we cannot control our circumstances, but we can control our attitude. We can choose to be happy, even in the midst of suffering. These Stoic teachings helped me to see my anxiety in a new light. I realized that my anxiety was not a reflection of my worth as a person. It was simply a challenge that I needed to face. I also realized that I could not control my anxious thoughts, but I could control my reaction to them. I could choose to not let them control my life. I began to practice Stoic philosophy every day. I would meditate on the Stoic teachings and I would try to apply them to my life. And by time passed, I became less and less anxious. I learned to let go of my worries and to focus on the present moment. I also learned to be more accepting of things that I could not control. Stoic philosophy has helped me to live a much happier and more fulfilling life. I am grateful for the Stoics' teachings, and I am committed to sharing them with others. I hope that my story inspires you to learn more about Stoic philosophy and to see how it can help you to overcome your own challenges. Epictetus' thoughts on our own freedom. Now the things within our power are by nature free, unrestricted, unhindered. But those beyond our power are weak, dependent, restricted, alien. Remember then that if you attribute freedom to things by nature dependent and take what belongs to others for your own, you will be hindered, you will lament, you will be disturbed, you will find fault both with gods and men. But if you take for your own only that which is your own and view what belongs to others just as it really is, then no one will ever compel you, no one will restrict you. You will find fault with no one. You will accuse no one. You will do nothing against your will. No one will hurt you. You will not have an enemy, nor will you suffer any harm. So, what do you think? Do you think the Stoic teachings on the dichotomy of control are helpful? I think they're incredibly helpful, but I want to know what you think. Share your thoughts and comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos on Stoicism and other topics.